Hello, everybody, and welcome to Lilith Astrology. I'm your astrologer and founder, Adama Cisse, and I'm here to bring you what's going on in the stars for the week of April 5th, 2020. First, before I get started, I of course want to plug my channel. So don't forget, if you love this content and you want to see more, hit the bell and subscribe, like, comment, do all the things, share all of your love for this content and support Lilith Astrology. Another great way you can support my channel if you love all of this content is check out my personal readings. I do personal readings via video chat, and those can be booked on the website below. And I also launched memberships where each month you will receive a horoscope for your specific sign. So not just the collective reports that you see here on YouTube, but a more premium report written just for you. It's super cheap price. My memberships start at $5.99, so you can get all access to those. So let's get started into the week. Some intense energies ahead. I'm coming to you live from quarantine right now, of course, like everybody else in the world. And I'm here in New York City, where it's definitely all anyone ever can talk about and think about at this point. So I'm here for you guys, and let's get into the week ahead. Yes, today is the Jupiter-Pluto conjunction in Capricorn at 24 degrees. This is definitely a moment. I mentioned it in my report last week, but when these two very intense planets join in the sign of structure, in the sign of tradition and the patriarchy and the status quo and what has been done for so long. When you have the planet of essentially destruction, Pluto, meeting up with the planet of abundance and expansion and growth, which is also in his fall in the sign of Capricorn. When you have these two planets meeting, there can be an amplification of a deconstruction of society. And we are obviously all experiencing that now. The Pluto-Saturn conjunction was very significant in January. This is another energy that is a trigger, and we had Mars as a trigger in Capricorn as well. This is another one. And so when these planets are meeting, we're going to see an amplification of this happening. So moving on from that major planetary energy we have between Jupiter and Pluto in Capricorn on Sunday, as we move further into the week on Tuesday, we have the full moon, which is also a super moon, in Libra. And that is at 10:45 p.m. Eastern if you are on the East Coast. And it may be on the 8th for some of you elsewhere in the world, if you are based elsewhere in the world. Libra is about relationships. For Libra, Venus rules over the sign of Libra, and right now Venus is in Gemini. So, we have this full moon spotlighting how we relate to others, how the collective relates to others, how the collective not only relates to others, but in turn, how those relationships help them understand themselves more. A full moon is when the sun opposes the moon. So it's where what has been hidden right now in terms of your relationships, business and personal, and love. Something will be spotlit for everybody, the world. And this information can help you in nurturing yourself. We still have that conjunction with the sun and Chiron in Aries opposing this moon. So what information can you receive on this day that then allows you to let in the relationships or create the relationships that you want and that are nurturing and healing to your soul? There are some, there's some challenging aspects to this full moon. I mentioned Venus is in Gemini. the planet of love and relationships, and that's going to be Sesca Square. So for some of you, there can be some tense topics come up. You know, perhaps somebody that you are sharing quarantine with, or you are away from because of this. There can be some issues under the spotlight now that have been brewing beneath the surface, but you haven't been real with yourself with them up until this moment. And full moon energy can last for 2 weeks after it occurs. So this can be something that's going to play out for like the next couple of weeks. We also have a square to Jupiter in Capricorn this full moon. There's also a square to Pluto in this full moon, and we have an opposition to Lilith. And you know, this is some heavy energy for us right now. I'm just going to be frank. Some heavy energy this week. I think everyone will also feel the emotion. I know myself, being a Cancer rising, I'm really going to feel this Libra moon. I'm really going to feel this. And I think we all are going to. You know, and not just people in relationships, people who are single. There can be, you know, through this solitude, through this reflection that you've achieved through being alone during this time, if you live alone and you are spending most of this time alone, there can be some things revealed to you on this day through this self-reflection that you need to shift and change, or some realizations about how you relate to others and your relationships, or the type of relationships that you want to bring into your life. You come to some resolutions about this on this day. So big day for relationships for everyone and how we relate to others. I think this is going back to Saturn's lesson right now and what Saturn is doing and what Pluto is doing and Jupiter in terms of changing society for the better, because there were some things that were just no longer working for us anymore. And this whole Libra full moon is feeding into that energy of keeping around what is working for you and having you come to some realizations about that, or the removal of it. So, and you know, that day too, we have Mars square Uranus, and we'll have Mercury sextile Pluto and Jupiter. So you could also have conversations. I think conversations will be healing and want to be proactive in making changes and coming to productive resolutions. You know? So, interesting stuff. And I really think that this week, in our solitude and in our quarantine, really being mindful of what this full moon is trying to spotlight for you. Again, where do you have Libra in your chart? This is going to be something intense for if you have Libra in the seventh house, if you're an Aries rising. If you are even a Libra rising, you're going to have that in your first house. If you have Libra in the fourth and your IC, like me, there can be some very enlightening details that come through. And you know, as we keep moving through the week, Mars will sextile Chiron the next day. Mars has been in Aquarius, and I think that is a healing aspect. Coming off of such intense energy through this weekend, I think this will serve as like a nice minute for you to take the time from this intense energy to really reflect on what is it that you need to do, Mars, to heal and help yourself in order to be there fully for others. And that's that sextile, that easy, nice sextile with Chiron and Aries. And then on Thursday, on the 9th, as we keep moving further to the week, as I mentioned, Venus went into Gemini, and Venus is actually going retrograde in May. But just like any other planet, Venus has a shadow period right before she goes retrograde. And so that is when the technical shadow period for Venus retrograde starts in Gemini. And I will definitely elaborate more on what this means. Um, Definitely take a look at your chart. Where do you have Gemini? Are you a Gemini? Where do you have, are you a natal Venus in Gemini? This is a little Venus return for some of you. Do you have Venus retrograde in your chart? These are all some things to look at to see, okay, this is how it could affect me. And in general, Venus retrograde in Gemini is bringing about some old conversations, some old things, and old issues in relating to others, and bringing that right back around for you to handle and for you to deal with. And so, the final important astro shift that I wanted to mention this week is on the 11th, on Saturday. Mercury, which has been swimming his way through Pisces slowly, dreaming and living in feelings and reacting with feelings and communicating with feelings and creating solutions with feelings, is now moving into the fire sign of Aries, where it can gain more strength than it has when Mercury was in Pisces. So I think we will feel a sudden shift in our thinking. I think there will be actually a lot less lack of clarity in terms of the coronavirus COVID-19 situation. Mercury has also, been with Neptune and Pisces, creating that dissolution and confusion and non-reactivity um, in the collective to this virus at first. And now I think, especially with this, shift, there is going to be some action and more speaking out against this, and against the lack of activity from the federal government. It will square the nodes. Actually, the nodes are still in Cancer and in Capricorn at 1 degree about. Um, and so when Mercury enters Aries and goes on to the 1st degree, you're going to have that exact square. So I think on Saturday and moving beyond that, you're really going to see more of a fiery response. We have seen that, but I think especially as the apex looms and as things are getting worse here in New York City, we're really going to see it ramp up with Mercury and Aries. Natal Mercury and Aries, they do not, when they speak, with fire and with passion and to get things done. It's a cardinal energy. And they really don't care what they have to do to make, progress and to get things moving forward. So it'll be really interesting to see how this energy plays out in the collective. So if you're a natal Mercury in Aries, I think you're going to feel a lot more fire, a lot more zest. And I think, coming off of this full moon in Libra, those conversations about relationships or with partners or, with people that you work with could turn a little more fiery as we head into the weekend, because now we have Mercury moving out of Pisces. Um, and so that's like an opposing energy from this Libra energy. So I think there really will be a lot more fire in our thinking, a lot more communication, and a lot more va-va-voom in terms of the thoughts and reactivity to those thoughts in the collective. So that's this week. Yeah, I hope you all are really doing well. Me personally, I've just been working and business as usual in terms of astrology. Don't forget, I'm available for readings. I'm actually here a lot more. So my calendar has actually way more availability on it. So if, spiritual guidance is something that you've been needing or wanting, I definitely suggest booking a reading with me today. And also on Tuesday, And I'm also announcing this via my email list. But with Laura Chung, again, we are doing a great meditation and astrological talk featuring the 7 chakras, how they relate to astrology, and how you can utilize this knowledge to help ground and heal yourself during this stressful time. So, I want to thank you all for watching. Don't forget, like, comment, subscribe. Thank you so much for following and watching, and I will see you all back here next week. Bye.